Yeah, I just got a letter from Google AdSense, so guess who might not be broke anymore. I'm joking. I'm perpetually broken in mind, body and bank. Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. So a few days ago, I asked you guys on my Instagram to send me the questions about sex education that you never got answered in school. And a lot of this is because I noticed that a lot of my subscribers are LGBTQ plus members. And the thing about being LGBTQ plus members is that often sex ed is not even relevant to you in school. A lot of the time, sex education focuses exclusively on the old heteros. For people who are gay or like same-sex orientated, it's difficult. It's difficult to know how to approach the old sex, the old coitus. So the reason I am doing this is because I felt like I would have liked someone on YouTube or someone to have been so open about asking questions, because I feel like there are so many things that are still kind of like taboo to talk about, and I don't really want that to be the case on my YouTube channel. I want to kind of be the person online that you feel like, there's no awkwardness here, there's no embarrassment about sex or sexuality or anything that's part of who you are. I don't want anyone to be embarrassed about that. So you know me, I hopped on my Insta and I asked you guys to ask me all of your questions about sex and masturbation and orgasms and growing up and puberty, because I want to start this kind of dialogue that kind of removes the taboo almost of asking about these things, because at the end of the day, the more we talk about it, the more we ask questions about it, the safer people are going to be, which means we can probably put a quicker end to STIs and STDs, however you want to say them. And it means that we can get more people having safe sex and having a good understanding of what it means to be in a relationship and to have a healthy relationship with your body and with other people's bodies and with each other's bodies, which is the good stuff. And unless you're asexual, which is also fine, but it's probably isn't, the sex bit probably not as relevant to you, so I'd skip over that. I figured I'm gonna sit with a bowl of ramen and I'm gonna answer your questions and play About the Sex Doctor for today. So, let's see how it goes. That's some good stuff. First question. At what age did you learn about masturbation? This is something that I think is a really big issue, because I didn't know that girls could even masturbate / orgasm until I was about 15. And that's quite old, I now realise. It was never explained to me in sex education that girls could masturbate. So I never learned that girls could orgasm. And I don't know if that was typical, but it's what I found. So I'm assuming there must be other females who were in a similar situation. I think something that needs to be like more talked about, especially in sex education, is to put less of an emphasis on boys and male masturbation. Everyone knows everyone knows that. It's a thing, everyone knows about it. But no one ever seemed to talk about girls doing it. For me to not understand that my own body was capable of an orgasm until I was literally almost 16 years old is ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Like, I think we need to kind of encourage girls more to be more self-aware, more aware of their bodies, and not to be embarrassed about it, because if guys can walk around talking about their willies and jacking off, I think girls should be within every right to talk about that kind of stuff too. So you know what? Girl power. Does size matter, in my opinion? I think guys are way too hung up on the size issue, and I think some girls are as well. I think it's a very personal thing. Everyone has a personal preference, but I think the general rule is it's not what you have, it's what you do with it. And I watched a really interesting, I'm going to link it down below, I watched a really interesting interview on This Morning with, I think, 3 gentlemen who had what they call a micro penis, which is essentially a penis that is exceptionally small, and they were very, very honest about it, and they were very unembarrassed and unashamed about it, and they were just saying, you know what, bodies come in all different sizes and shapes, and you know, this is just another part of that. I think anyone that's going to judge you and make you feel bad for the size that you have is not someone you're going to want to be getting intimate with anyway. So that's something for you to keep in mind, is that anyone who makes negative comments about your body, anyone who makes you feel bad about your body is not someone you should be sharing your body with, because you deserve better, boo. How does lesbian sex work? Right, okay. That's a big one. I think I have an issue with this because a lot of people say girls can't have sex with girls because there's no penis involved. And I think saying that is some major little dick energy. In terms of sex, I think you're looking at, for girls, scissoring, which is a common sex tactic. And also some girls choose to use sex toys, so strap-ons, things like that, which again, completely up to the girls in the situation, I guess. It's personal preference, obviously. Everyone has their own kind of unique approach to same-sex sex. That is right. But yeah, those are I think the most common ways probably that you're gonna be having sex with girls. What does an orgasm feel like? Lol, 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 I'm so awkward. Orgasms. If you haven't had one already, you're missing out. I think for girls, I'm not talking about guys obviously, because I don't know what a male orgasm feels like. Maybe I should have got a guy over, and should I ring one up and ask them what an orgasm feels like? For girls, a lot of the time, especially the first time you orgasm, you're gonna be like a bit confused by it. Like quite widely reported that before you orgasm, it feels a lot like you're about to wet yourself. And I know that was the case for me the first time I kind of discovered it, is that I literally thought, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna wee myself. But you're not gonna wee yourself. It's just like a very warm, tingly sensation, and then you're like, oh, this is very pleasant. Really spicy today. Anyone asking, this is kimchi ramen, by the way. It's really good, but it's very spicy. Can you have sex whilst on your period? Yes, you can. A lot of people do this. It can be quite messy though, so a lot of people lay out towels on the bed if you're going to be doing it on the bed, or in the shower. People can do it in the shower. Kind of like just wherever you are, you just have to kind of be prepared that there is quite a lot of mess involved. But yeah, definitely people do it on their periods. How long does sex actually go for? Okay, and they've put in brackets straight sex. It really depends. This is a huge question. It depends on everything. So it depends on the people involved, it depends on the circumstances, it depends on if there's alcohol, it depends on if it's your first time, your 700th time, it depends on how in the mood you are, how tired you are, how sleepy you are. Shall I Google the average? We'll Google the average. A 2008 study of United States and Canadian sex therapists said sex is too short if it lasts 1 to 2 minutes, it's adequate if it lasts 3 to 7 minutes, and it's desirable at 7 to 13 minutes. The range between 10 and 30 minutes is too long. So there you are. I'm not sure what's my sexuality. Do I just have to wait and get experience? I'm sorry, lol. Don't apologize. A lot of people, it comes a bit later on. I don't know how old you are, but I think a lot of people it comes later on. I mean, there are still like people in their 50s, 60s who are unsure of their sexuality, and because of the climate that we're in now, they're like, oh, they start questioning. They're like, oh, maybe I am bi, or maybe I am gay. So there's no rush to find out your sexuality. A lot of it, yeah, I mean, sometimes people find experience helps, and time, just like falling in love and meeting new people. And sometimes people just wake up one day and they're like, oh damn, I'm bi, I'm gay, like I'm straight. Like, it doesn't matter. I know a lot of people who are questioning often find that it is very helpful if they go and, you know, they meet up with a girl or they meet up with a guy. It depends on your age. If you were quite young, I'd just ride the roller coaster that is this journey, man, because it's quite exciting discovering your sexuality, and it's quite exciting learning about yourself and who you like. So I wouldn't stress too much about it, you know, just ride the roller coaster. If it's causing you distress and you want to know who you are, just go kiss someone. I mean, make sure they're consenting, but just rock up and be like, can we make out for like 3 minutes? What does it mean when females get period cramps? Is the uterus trying to kill itself? Yes, it is. Period cramps are caused because obviously the blood lining is shedding, and that is painful, because if you imagine it, it's like it's just being ripped away. There we are, just ripped. Just imagine your skin ripping away. It's kind of like that. I used to get really bad period cramps. The way that I deal with it, hot water bottles are really good. Just hold them to your tummy. You can get Nurofen that's specifically for period pain, and you just take it and it helps deal with the pain, and it's actually really effective. It was one of the few things that I found help. But yeah, load up on those carbs, make yourself feel better. Sometimes it is better to just get moving rather than sit on the sofa and cry about it. Like trying to go do exercising and things like that, because that can help kind of jog everything around and relieve some of the cramps. Also because you're releasing endorphins, which will make you happier. So give that a go, but I completely understand sometimes you just want to just curl up and cry for 8 hours, so relatable. How does one prepare for anal sex, or do you even need it? Oh, it depends. If you're gay, obviously this is how you have, oh, I choked on an egg. If you are gay, like a male and you're gay, this is obviously the main way you have sex, so yes, I imagine you do need it. If you are straight, like it's not the main way of having sex, but there are people who enjoy it and that's fine. Same for being a lesbian, you might enjoy that, so whatever you fancy, boo. So yeah, it's completely personal choice. I mean, if we're talking about gay people, obviously what you need to prepare, I'm assuming there's a lot of preparation practice that goes into it. Let's have a Google. Make sure you're using a high quality silicone based lubricant, that's important. And use a condom, because you do not want to be spreading things. Relax, go slow. If you decide it's not for you, that's okay too. I think generally, just make sure you're really comfortable with the person you're with. Silicone based lubricant, stay relaxed, stay comfortable, make sure you're communicating, familiarize yourself with that area before you do anything. And I think that goes the same if you're a woman and you want to try it as well. I think those are just the general rules. How early is too early to have sex in a relationship? There is no early. I think if you are both very comfortable and you are both very open and you're mature enough to talk about safe sex, then, you know, if you feel that you're both ready for it and you feel you can both talk about it, then I feel like it's completely your choice. As long as you're not doing it for the wrong reasons, I think no matter what stage of the relationship you're in, if you're both comfortable and you're both talking, communicating, as I've said about 8 times now, I think you're good. Is masturbation healthy or normal? Yes, it's healthy and it's normal, it's both. Everyone should be masturbating, partly because for guys it's actually a medical thing to prevent a block up, which can cause health problems. For women it's also like a pressure thing. Orgasms in themselves can help relieve headaches, they can help relieve stress levels. It's really, really healthy for you, and I don't think people talk enough about the health benefits of having an orgasm, because people would be much happier if they just, you know, had more O's. How do you know when a relationship is toxic? A relationship is toxic if you spend more time arguing than you do being happy. If you have more bad times than you do good times. If your friends and your family are telling you that they don't think it's healthy, that they don't think that it's okay, that someone isn't treating you right. If they try to control any aspect of your life unfairly. If they manipulate you, if they emotionally manipulate you, if they don't make you happy and you don't feel like it's a balance between the two of you. I mean, every relationship has arguments, but if you feel like you're not in a balanced, fair, equal relationship that is, on the whole, prosperous and happy, then it's toxic. And it doesn't have to be, a toxic relation doesn't have to be a romantic relationship, it can be a friendship, it can also be a parent-child relationship. Obviously it gets more complicated when obviously it's between a guardian and a child, but you can always try and talk things out with a third party, like a doctor, someone at school, teacher, another adult you trust, to try and resolve the issue. But just listen to the people around you and listen to your gut. If your gut's saying, I'm unhappy, this isn't right, ignore kind of what you're saying, but it was nice yesterday, or ignore that, go with your gut, and, you know, don't take other people's shit. And also, just a side note, guys can be the receivers of emotional abuse and toxic relationships as well. I just want to point that out. This affects all genders, and you are just as deserving to get the hell out of that as possible, as fast as possible. How do you learn to love yourself? Boo, you wake up every morning, you look in the mirror, you say, I am gorgeous, and then you get on with your day. The way that I built my self-confidence is every time I had a thought that was not nice, every time I had a thought that was degrading or debilitating or emotionally abusive to myself, I would stop and I would think, okay, would I say this to a child? And if it was like, you're fat, you're ugly, you're untalented, you're boring, blah, blah, blah. If I wouldn't say it to a child, I thought, then why the hell am I saying it to myself? So I put this kind of filter on my brain that was like, if I wouldn't treat a child like this, I'm not gonna treat myself like this, because I'm my mum's child. My mum would not want me to do this to myself. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna treat myself with the same respect that I would treat my friend or a child, and I'm gonna filter out all that absolute rubbish that our brains sometimes tell ourselves. So every time it was like, oh, you look gross today, I'd be like, honey, you put that nasty thought back in the box where you found it. because I look great. I look amazing. And I just basically kept replacing these negative self-schemas with positive ones, and I'd be like, yeah, you know what? If I ever said, oh, you're entitled, I'd be like, no, you're not. And I'd be like, you know what? I did this today. I did that yesterday. I'm a boss-ass bitch, and I take no prisoners. I think people would be like, oh, if they love themselves so much, why can't I love myself that much? And by having this self-love and this self-energy, I think you inspire other people to feel the same. So that is how you love yourself. Remind yourself every day that how freaking great you are. Do you talk with your partner about shaving down there, and how bad is it gonna hurt? Okay, shaving. I was hoping this would come up. Self-grooming, shaving, waxing, whatever, is all personal choice. I think that the obsession with shaving is kind of like quite negative, because it's suggesting that in order to be sexy you have to be hairless, which just isn't the case. Sometimes I like to shave, sometimes I don't like to shave. If you're in a relationship, I think sometimes people do like to discuss that with their partner, because they'll be like, oh, I'm not fussed about what's going on with the hair situation, what do you think? Because they'll be like, oh, if I'm not bothered about it, I may as well consult my partner and see what they like. And I think it's always a good conversation to have with people, to talk about if you're in a committed relationship and you're talking politely and respectfully about other people, and you're having a discussion about it, and you're not being offensive or demanding that people, you know, shave or don't shave. I think that's great. If that's a discussion you want to have with your partner, go for it. If it's not, it's your choice, you know, at the end of the day. And being your partner, that person should respect that. Shaving doesn't hurt in itself, but waxing does. I have quite a high pain threshold, and I actually prefer waxing just because it lasts a lot longer than shaving. And so, like, if you wax, for example, your bikini line, you can probably go like 3 weeks without needing to think about waxing again, whereas with shaving, the more you shave, the more you kind of need to shave, because it grows back faster, in my experience. And I also think that waxing gives like cleaner lines as well. But again, completely your choice, if you want to, if you don't. Shaving is a lot easier. Waxing, I can do it myself because we have a waxing kit, but waxing, a lot of people prefer to go to salons, which obviously is more expensive than buying a razor. What are the different types of contraception? Okay, this is the final question, and I'm going to answer it because it's so important. There are lots of different types of contraception. I'm going to go through some that are contraceptives for not having kids, but also contraceptives that are important for not getting STIs and spreading diseases and horrible things like gonorrhea and crabs and AIDS. Okay. For women, you have a femidom, which is a female condom that you just kind of like put up there, and you can't really feel it. It just basically seals off the top of the entrance so that a penis, if it does ejaculate, the semen can't get up there. So obviously you can't fertilize an egg, can't get pregnant. You also have the pill, which is a pill that you take every single day. That is, I think it's 99.5% effective at stopping pregnancy. It does not protect you from STIs, the same as the femidom. It will not protect you from sexually transmitted diseases. The implant and the injection. Okay, so the implant, I used to have one in here, and I used to have one in here, but I've just had it taken out because it was causing me a nightmare. The implant gives you a dose of hormones. It lives in your arm for 3 years, and it gives you a dose of hormones, and it stops you from getting pregnant. Again, it is more effective than the pill because obviously it's internal, but it can also stop your periods entirely. Like, I didn't have periods for 3 years on my first one. But at the same time, there are side effects to it. Like on the second one that I had, I bled for 6 months non-stop, so I got it removed because it wasn't doing its job. You can also get the injection. So the injection lasts 8, 12 or 13 weeks depending on which one you get. It does the same thing as the implant and the pill. It's just you don't have to take it daily. But the issue with the injection is if you aren't compatible with the injection, you have to wait out the hormones in your system because obviously they're injected. Whereas with the implant and the pill, you can stop taking them and the hormones will stop immediately. So you can get the implant taken out and stop taking the pill and the hormones will stop. The injection, unfortunately, if you get it and you aren't compatible with it, you do have to deal with it for the duration of the cycle. Another method is the coil, which is a small kind of T-shaped contraceptive that they insert directly into your womb, and it stops you from getting pregnant. A lot of people find this one quite easy because it's just there, you don't have to think about it, but it does involve a minor, obviously, kind of like surgery type thing. They can do it in your local GP. like your local doctors, but it is obviously quite invasive, so you do have a nurse and a doctor there with you. A lot of people like the coil because it lasts 5 to 10 years, so it is a lot more effective. I think they've just released a 3-year one as well, so you don't have to fully commit. It is a bit more difficult to get out if you aren't compatible with it though, that is the other thing. So for women in same-sex relationships who aren't worried about obviously pregnancy, but who are worried about STIs and things like that, you can use these things called dental dams, which are thin sheets of kind of like latex or plurethane, who knows. You use those to protect your mouth, obviously, from getting any STIs from your partner. The dental dams can be used on both your vagina and your anus, so you can use those to protect your mouth from getting STIs from either of those places. If you are a dude, obviously you have condoms, and personally, I think you should use condoms all the time if you're with a new partner, because condoms are the only thing really that's the most effective at protecting you all from STIs and STDs, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you are gay, whether you are straight, it doesn't matter. Please use a condom. Protect yourself, protect your partner. Sorted. Same-sex couples, men, can use the dental dams, obviously, for anal things as well. As far as I'm aware, I think that's it for guys. I think you just have, it's pretty simple. Lucky you. If you are thinking about having sex and sexual relationships, please use your contraception, because we need to stop STIs spreading so viciously. And now you know, if you are gay or if you are bi or whatever you are, you know how to protect yourself. So please use this advice. Please protect yourself. Please protect your partners. So I hope you enjoyed this video about everything sex orientated and relationship orientated. I know it's not something I'd usually do on my channel, but I want my channel to be a place that's really authentic and really real, and that people feel that they can come to for advice or come to just kind of understand more about themselves, and I don't want anyone to be not included in that. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. It's a free world, you do you, boo. And I will be back whenever, because I've got lots of video ideas coming up, and so you might even see me tomorrow. Could you imagine? 2 videos in a week. Scandal. Don't forget, safe sex is the best sex. Healthy relationships are the best relationships, and I wish you all have a blessed day doing whatever you're doing. You might even be practicing the safe sex tips that I just told you about, in which case, bon chance. Bye.